This is another Real Track production. Real Track, real.
I can see straight through the fuckery. Niggas know what's up with me. Yeah. Niggas know not to fuck with me. Real shit, only no fuckery. Thought it bitch wanna fuck on me, so she can go and tell this that fuckery. If it ain't out there, that's the fuckery. I'm pulling back up with the fuckery. Yeah, bitch ain't no fucking me. You owe me, you ducking me, that is that fuckery. Yeah, stick on me ugly. Bitch ain't no touching me 30 for fuckery. Nah, that is that fuckery. That is that fuckery, fuckery. Yeah, that is that fuckery. That is that fuckery. Yeah. I can't let you pay me for a pussy. You owe me, then pay me, or I am a pussy. Yeah. You probably feel off, huh? But I can't let you feel like you took it. Nope. Not the way you had a nigga looking. Need my money on my work when I call you play hooky. Yeah. You ain't keep it G. You ain't keep it G, nigga. All you did is try to hit me with the fuckery, nigga. Yeah. Never about to hand and feed niggas. No. I was just trying to feed niggas. Yeah. Cause I was just trying to eat, nigga. But I can't let you think I'm sweet, nigga. Yeah. I ain't type to look for beef, nigga. Nope. But I ain't looking just to please, nigga. Yeah. Got the pipe on my hip, got some pressure built up. I'm a motherfucker squeezing. Yeah. Now fuck making peace with you. I'll try and make some cheese with you. Yeah, man, I feel like we equal. Pull up, old raggedy vehicle. I'm shooting at whoever be with you. I wouldn't wanna be with you. I'ma kill a nigga, smoke weed with you. Same nigga like to be a C with you. 30 round clip for your pussy ass. Then you get the picture. Thought this bitch wanna fuck on me. That ain't gon' happen though. Back in the trap and I'm stacking though. No time to chill with no ratchet hoe. Unless you gon' traffic though. No fuckery. Talk back, I smack her though. Tell that hoe pack the coat. Bitch, get your back and go get out the fucking door.
Yo, how's everybody doing? God, I couldn't take it no more. I promise you I couldn't. This stuff so outlandish, baby. But you know me. This stuff here is one of those phenomenons that you don't have to go looking hard and you're going to find the answer. You dig? Like, hey, Miss Deborah, good to see you. So, the government as an entity to me, and this is not going to be no long drawn out thing. Oh yeah. He got 100,000 views, but he got 200 likes. Boy, I'll tell you what, Miss PJ, that's because I'll tell you why. It's because it didn't get the reception that he swore he would get. And now in order to make it at least make sense to us, you got to buy a bunch of views. Right now, I looked into it. There's all kind of websites. In fact, I posted a video clip from his little BS yesterday. And let me tell you what. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on here and I'm going to buy 100,000 views. And then I said, you know what? No, I'm not. Because this situation means so little to me. That what do I look like, you understand me, paying $50, $60 of my own money to make a point to a bunch of people who are so ignorant that they have a voice, and that's what America grants you is a voice. America gives you a voice and will also let you be dumb enough to express it when you don't understand all of the complications in what you're looking at, right? So let me just sort of get down to it. Okay. Now, we all understand far, wide, and large, right? That in order to protest on the scale that these folks are, there has to be a permit issued. Okay. Now, yesterday, a permit was issued, a demonstrator permit at the Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport to allow for and manage a demonstration against immigration enforcement. The permit designated specific locations and participant limits for the protest. Why is this important? Because there are some general parameters that come with a permit. This here, the permit, the general rules is for 100 people, right? It is for peaceful protests. And it also gives law enforcement the opportunity to get ahead of the situation because they understand the mentality of the people that are here. They understand it wholeheartedly, okay? Now, to do peaceful protests, it's small numbers, not obstructing the roadways, right? And not, I mean, this isn't anywhere close. Hey, Lila, good to see you. Look here, moderators, we not doing no BS. You hear me? If somebody has a super political view on this and they typing in all caps, you could feel free to get rid of them at any point. Now, what we understand is another phenomenon, and it is called mob mentality, right? Mob mentality, also known as herd mentality or crowd psychology, is the psychological phenomenon where individuals in a group conform to the actions, emotions, and beliefs of the majority, often abandoning their own personal judgments or moral standards. It is driven by a desire for acceptance and can result in impulsive, irrational, or destructive behaviors such as riots or fads, fueled by heightened emotions within the crowd. Key characteristics and aspects. Loss of individuality. Individuals in a mob often lose their sense of personal responsibility and self-awareness, adopting the behavior of the collective. De-individuation. The feeling of anonymity in a large crowd reduces personal inhibition and moral constraints. Emotional contagion. Intense emotions spread quickly through a crowd, leading to collective frenzy or panic. Destructive or conformist. While it can lead to dangerous violence, example, riots, it also explains milder forms of conformity, such as following social media trends or consumer crazes. Okay. Now, examples in society: riots and violence, unruly crowds engaging in looting or destruction, panic buying, a crowd rapidly clearing store shelves due to fear, online behavior such as cancel culture, collective harassment on social media, financial bubbles, investors rushing to buy or sell based on the actions of others. Okay. And I think that we generally get an idea of what mob mentality is. Now, this is going to be a pretty important one. And this one is interchangeable and universal. And as we go through this short programming, we're going to revert back to it. Okay. This is called a precursor crime. You're not going to get this on the news. You're not going to get this here or there or anywhere. Okay. A precursor crime refers to an offense committed as a preliminary step or a foundational act that resembles or leads to a more serious future crime. These crimes are often used to disrupt criminal activity before a final, more harmful act such as terrorist attack or drug production is completed. Okay, let's move on down here. Other context: psychological behavior. Some research suggests that actions like gaslighting or emotional invalidation can act as a precursor to violent crime or substance abuse. Gateway crimes. Certain behaviors, such as animal cruelty, are often identified as precursors or gateways to more severe violent crimes like domestic violence or homicide. Key legal elements: knowingly possessing. That doesn't have anything to do with this. So, what the precursor crime does is as a demonstrator or a rioter, when you are actively engaged in what is termed a precursor crime, your rights soon slip away. Now you are looking at what rights does an offender possess. Now, that's not to say that someone can't break into a house, be arrested by the police, for instance, and then become a victim of police brutality. We're not saying that. Two things can be right at the same time. Two things can be wrong at the same time. One thing can be right and one thing can be wrong, all at the same time. Okay? Now, what is interesting about the whole dynamic of what is going on, right, is you have trespassing, you have unpermitted protesting, you have obstructing roadways. Hold on one second. I had it pulled up, but 1 second. Watch your ears. So, again, I'm not here to speak about the federal government by and large, and I'll tell you why. Do I think everything they're doing running across the board is lean, mean, and green? No, I do not. I think that they've made some very dire mistakes. Those mistakes are what is giving fuel to the idiocracy as a whole, right? Now, it says right here, protesters may face criminal charges when demonstrations become unlawful with common offenses including failure to disperse, disorderly conduct, unlawful assembly, and resisting arrest. Okay? Other frequent charges include trespassing, vandalism, obstruction of traffic, and in violent situations, assault on law enforcement, arson, or looting. So you have 7 precursor crimes that become very, very easy to charge in the court of law, right? And I don't need to go down through what the descriptions are of said precursor crimes. So imagine standing in the face of any law enforcement, knowing you are adequately meeting the threshold for up to 7, without putting your hands on anyone, up to 7 precursor charges. 7 starts to look like you are involved in a spree. Do you understand what I'm saying? 7 leads you to looking like a premium candidate for play a stupid game, win a stupid prize. Okay? Play a stupid game, win a stupid prize. I hope that makes sense. Now, we're not doing this for the numbers, right? I'm doing this to get it off of my chest because this thing has gotten to a point that is absolutely astonishingly ridiculous. Okay. I know that there's some updated news about a gentleman getting smoked while he's got a gun on his hip and he's wearing it open carry. I spoke about this before. When you think you're on level 4, then police, they're peaked, they're pinned out at a level 10, right? Not saying what they did was right or wrong. I will say this, that the gentleman who thought it was a great idea to be involved in what probably looks like a handful of precursor charges, who is now also legally carrying an open carry gun with permit, you win a stupid prize, my friend. You win a stupid prize. If you run at the ICE police, whether I'm not the jury, but I can tell you this, that it seems as if the federal government has made a decision and a ruling on it that this gentleman is not going to be charged. And what you have is you have a woman who is behind the wheel of a missile, and she is already involved in, to some degree, precursor charges. Okay? Precursor. Now, this is the one of the things that these people are leaving off the table. They don't want you to know, although it's evident and very apparent while you're watching this, that these people are already breaking some municipalities. And that is a fact. What's up, Booster? Good to see you, baby. It's a fact. Yes, like Chica said, you mess around and you're going to find out. Amanda Wolf, let me tell you this. We've had the threat from media trying to superimpose the idea of martial law on to the public. And I think the only time we've seen martial law that I can recall like this is during the New Orleans hurricane. And I think that was for great cause. Paisley Moon. Too many stupid people winning stupid prizes. Hey, Carrie, good to see you, baby. Right? That was the last time there was an emergency martial law that was imposed, and it wasn't imposed nationwide. I'm not speaking about other countries. That's the issue, is that, and I'm not, your feelings are valid, right? I'm not interested. See, that starts to be the kind of slippery sort of engagement or conversation that happens. We start talking about martial law, and then all of a sudden, when we talk about the last time we can recall when martial law was put forth, now we're talking about other countries. We're talking about America, hun, right? Your feelings are valid, right? Now, I'm going to move forward here. I'm not here for the content of the video. I'm here to show you the optic, right? The optic is that these people are committing a precursory crime. They're obstructing a roadway. It is probably an illegal gathering, right? So, failure to disperse, right? Now, when you are looking at a mob of people, you have to be able to look at it from the law enforcement perspective. That is not just saying, oh, he's agreeing with the cops. They are human beings. They're human beings. Okay. You're looking at a group of these people who are pushing forward. They are actively breaking the law in your face, and they are not arresting them one by one. Right? So you tell me, at what point does your threshold say, okay, gas them? Give them a little taste of the gas that makes them cry. When do you do that? Do you wait until they start breaking things? Do you wait until someone gets hurt? Are we here to judge the police because they don't adequately carry out the de-escalation tactics on a timely fashion? If they would have gassed the people while people were being shot, is it the wrong thing to do? Was it too late? Was it too early? Did it cause it? Did it not cause it? Listen, I'm not here to talk. At what point do we as Americans say, no, that isn't lawful and ICE is different than police? It is different. Now, the issue is that you are definitely one demographic, Miss Amanda. You're definitely one demographic. Now, let's imagine, and I'm going to take the blandest of all generalizations, okay? Let's generalize a demographic of illegal immigrants that are and have been convicted and or deported or released, pending trials, whatever it is, that have brought an illegal substance to this country. I'm only going to speak of those who are not criminals in the sense that they've outstayed their welcome or that they're committing some other precursory crime that is to a degree benign outside of dealing illegal, deadly narcotics. You don't fall into the demographic of people, or let's say parents, who have lost a child due to a serious drug addiction, to a withdrawal, even a withdrawal, to an overdose. So it's split. Hey, Ruthless, good to see you, honey. It's a split. Now, you also have to understand that the numbers, right? These people, some of you people, have been led astray and bamboozled into believing that these people, that they are demonstrating for the whole of America and for the whole of Minneapolis. They are not. They are not. They do not represent the sum of these parts. Do not conclude the whole. They do not. This is a very small demographic, even in a smaller metro area like Minneapolis, right? I don't know where Minneapolis sits on the top 10 of population, but I would say that it's probably not even in the top 10, right? So the optics of it, these optics are already against the law. This is a gathering of, I don't know how many, but you could sort of just draw a circle around the heads and say, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30. I don't know what's down the street. I don't know what's back here. And I don't know what's up here. And let me tell you what, I don't care. I do not care. This is the issue. When you are given directives by law enforcement, I don't care if they're federal agents, I don't care if they're county cops. When you are given a directive, it does not matter in the moment. This is the thing that people need to understand. Follow the directives in the moment so that if they are against your civil rights, you live to tell about it, not become some martyr that's dead laying on the side of the road who has no civil recourse. Does that make sense? If they tell you get down, get down. If you don't get down and they shoot you, you aren't alive later on to make your point in court. Does that make sense to anyone? So if they are giving you a lawful, even if it's an unlawful directive. Now, I've heard some smoke about the 5-year-old that's been detained. Is he being detained? I guess to some degree, yes. He is in the least restrictive portion of holding. But what do you expect? They've already completed, they've already completed the family reunification process. The child has already been reunified with the parent that tried to run away from them. Now, that's the part I don't agree with, but I agree with them keeping the families together. What do we want? Do we want this child placed in services? And then in other cases, a lot of us will come here and say, oh, children in services are being abused more than when they're with their abusive parents. It's a fine line. You're not going to win. You cannot win. But in this situation, don't come crying to me, pissing and moaning, spilling tears and water out of your face because these people told you to disperse. You don't have a lawful permit. You are obstructing the roadways. You have failure to disperse, and then you get a little taste of the gas. I don't want to hear you cry about it. They told you to leave. They're giving you ample opportunity to go home. Ample opportunity. What this is, in my opinion, not by and large, because I do believe there are the actual organic participants that have a reason to be there. However, they're peppered. Those people are peppered in this. These people are not the people that have the righteous reason to be there. These are the people that see a reason to be an asshole American. Thank you, Truth Hurts. They're asshole Americans. They're acting like assholes. And the ones that have the organic reason, the right reason to be there, they're being swallowed by a mob of idiots who will stand in the cold and think that this is archaic. This is archaic. Guess what? They're again, by and large, this person is not reaching or impacting or having a conversation with even the 121 people we have in here right now. You could always do more of this here than there. Does that make sense? Moving forward. I already did have it pulled up. These are some of the precursory crimes that these are the go-to. When they tell you disperse and you don't, then you get a taste of the gas, and then you're down on the ground saying you need help from the very EMS paramedics that are there in some law enforcement perspective, right? I know in a lot of municipalities, you guys put a 1 in the chat if your EMS or your paramedics also wear guns, right? They're there in a law enforcement capacity, but as a first responder nonetheless. Casey K, thanks so much for your contribution, Queen. You know it means the world to me. Now, we're going to move forward a little bit. Here. This also would be a precursory crime, right? With being a law enforcement agent, it does not, you don't sign on saying, hey, because you want to uphold whatever policies that we have in effect right now, it doesn't mean that your families aren't safe. You don't have some reasonable privacy, right? A reasonable want or need for privacy, right? This is, I find very interesting, and I'll get to why.
What they want to do is they want to make these people right targets for people to dox and to defame and to assault and to act as though there is some righteous cause associated with rebelling against the enforcement of the United States immigration laws. Look, the American people have seen these types of lies for years.
Why
they want to.
Why is it interesting? Well, I'll tell you why it's interesting. Because doxing a federal worker is a federal offense and can result in significant fines and imprisonment. Federal law specifically penalizes the malicious publication of a federal employee's restricted personal information, such as their home address, with the intent to threaten, intimidate, or incite violence. Would that not be a precursory crime against a federal agent? Listen, I am an American through and through. But guess what? When the police tells me, get down, I'm getting down. When the police, if I was ever so stupid to be out there with these idiots, if the police tell me disperse or we're going to deploy gas, guess what? They're going to see the back of me because I'm going the other way. I don't want no gas. I don't want no rubber bullets. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, we get into a little bit of the mindset, right? The mindset. Now, some of you may have seen this yesterday. Some of you may have not. Now, to exploit this situation is to exploit it for its face value and for not what the blood that runs through the vessel of the cause is about. This is about whether or not federal American law enforcement is legally or illegally deporting immigrants. Now, I can tell you this. I do not fall into a demographic that may be so much different than some of you here. Amanda, I'm not here for that. AI has not influenced me whatsoever, okay? Now, I have a handful of friends throughout my vast network of my personal relationships. right? They are individuals that are here from another country. They are people who are hardworking immigrants. They're not involved in any illegalities. They're not pushing dope. They're not stealing, right? They just maybe are caught between a rock and a hard place, and they are here illegally. You know where I protest? I protest by actually knowing a handful of people that are here illegally, but you're not going to get me to say a word. That's the real protest. Yeah, please, Miss Ruthless. I haven't been really just watching it all, but you know, Amanda, I'm not saying it's not right. I think that you're skating around the actual points that I'm trying to make, and I get it. Right? It seems to be the way it works. I guarantee you, Ernie Shell does not know one illegal immigrant that is here doing the right thing, and so that he's actually forced to make a decision about his beliefs around all of this. Right? Now, I don't have to waste one moment of my time waiting on knee pads in order to stay here and do more than he's already done. Okay? Fact. Now, to get into the mob mentality, I'm going to, in this portion of the programming, I'm going to essentially, Case K, thanks so much for your contribution, Queen. You know it means the world to me, baby. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pit one type of protester against the other. And let me show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that by sitting in the warm comfortability of my own home. While it is the middle, it's the Midwestern. It's Midwest outside right now here, baby. I can't go nowhere and I want to drive away from this fast as I can. I can't. You understand me? Watch this. Now, this isn't a dig. This isn't like, hey, Ernie Shell, Monday morning, first thing, call my probation officer. You can if you want. What this is Ernie Shell, once you get through being a clown, let's have an actual conversation about policy or about belief systems, not about how many viewers we can buy or how many this or that's, right? About policies, about what actually is fueling this. Because I guarantee you, your argument won't hold a warm cup of piss to mine. Now, I would be welcome. And furthermore, this isn't even, I would like to have it with you, not even for content, my friend. I would like to have it with you because I want you to understand what I understand. That it is glaring that potentially you don't understand, right? It does not appear to me as if just because you're going against the grain, everyone's walking this way and you're going that way, to the fractured, limited mind on the internet, that may be symbolic for something. For me, it is not. It is not symbolic of anything that you're walking against it, right? Now, the hypocrisy, if you know, you know, the hypocrisy in all of this is that the title of it is ICE protesters. Now, I've heard a lot of people using the terminology ICE out, and they try to pin the ICE out against other people. You're not ICEing this person. This is the truest quintessential definition of not icing out. So we can't even get the forethought together to make a title that is suggestive of what is actually going on. Okay, this, not the hypocrisy. This is not about views. This is about if you're an American, to be an American and to have a voice should be like being an American that possesses a gun. Just because you have a voice and a gun doesn't mean you need to express it whenever you're emotional. You express it with responsibility and with ethics. Okay? Now, for those of you that don't know, and I'm guessing Miss Amanda, you might be one of those. Miss Amanda, this gentleman acted initially yesterday like he was stabbed, stuck, or poked with something. He went through the whole thing. Now, we are talking about a gentleman who has a long-standing history of using blood capsules to promote the issuance of some sort of empathy or sympathy from the people on the YouTube. He has a long-standing history of putting a blood capsule in his mouth, biting it, showing the blood, and that's for sympathy, empathy, or to get out of a hard situation. This is no different, okay? This situation, and that's what I was texting you about, Nikki. What is your opinion of all this? And I've watched some of your coverage. I was watching actually your last video in more than that, but some of the things that have happened between your video and my video is some of the things that preempted or prompted me to come forth right now. Again, my issue isn't with is it right or wrong. My issue is as an American citizen, these are also American citizens to some degree, right? I think that the bulk of the demographic of protester is going to be Caucasian, Eastern European, of a particular age range. You're not going to see the melting pot of ethnicity that creates America. What you're seeing displayed here is angry white Americans. I think we can all agree with that, right? Okay, Raylan. So what we have here is this not only is a failure to ice out the ICE protesters, this is also some sort of sympathy ploy, right? I'm going to go ahead and let this run through part of the way.
Oh, God. Oh. Hold on me, guys. Hold on me, guys. Hold on me, guys. Oh. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Guys, I got stuck with something. Hold on a minute.
I got stuck with something. Hold on a minute. It's these sort of theatrics. Now, we know what this is because we see this every day. He's not the only one. He is not the only one. Okay? This gentleman ultimately said that he was, he ran into a cardboard sign that went through however many layers. The jacket isn't one layer. The jacket is an outer layer, an inner filler, maybe a liner, and then the back layer. So you're talking about 3 layers at the very least, with it being the outer layer, the filling, and then the back inner layer. Then whatever shirts he has on, stopping at the skin, right? Stopping at the skin. Now, this isn't going to become a place where we're going to, in Life's a Dance, I don't know if that's what you are doing, and I don't want to single you out. This is not going to become a place where we're going to bash Nick. Okay, that isn't what's going to happen here. So if anybody thinks they're going to come in here and bash her, that's not going to happen. You have the right to express your opinion just like her. And let me tell you what, if she's expressing her opinion about someone else, I give her the authority to do that here. Right? Moving forward.
Hold on a minute. Oh, God. Oh. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. I got stuck with something, guys. Hold on a second.
Got stuck with something. Got stuck with something. But then come to find out, we didn't get stuck with nothing. I heard he ran into a sign that had a hook. I heard he just ran into a cardboard sign. This would be the most serious paper cut on record right now. Nikki, thank you for your contribution, Queen. You know, it means the world to me. But it's the truth, right? And you know what? If it's me playing sides, it's me playing sides, right? I have a relationship with Nicole that stretches far and beyond the confines of this internet, period, right? And so it's like, yeah, I'm not going to allow people to come over here. And I don't, whatever Nick does over in her neck of the woods, that's what Nick does in her neck of the woods. You hear me? That's not my concern. My concern is how does Nick treat me? Okay. Now, BGE, thank you so much for becoming a new member, Queen. You know, it means the world to me, baby. Thank you so much. I did have the opportunity to watch a majority of what you had going on yesterday, BGE. And quite naturally, you know, people all of like minds corral together. I just was eating and I was like, yeah, no, like it you know, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to jump in. I wasn't prepared to jump in the conversation and start chatting. I wasn't in a chat place. I was in a I can listen place. So, and that's it. That's just it. Right. You know, it's one thing to be plucked from the Craigslist and be paid some nominal amount of money to come here and be a meat shield for issues and policies you know nothing about. It's a whole other thing to come here. It's an interesting dynamic. Let me tell you why. Because he sort of picked up the ideology that I planted on the last stream he did. I told him, I said, you know what, man? For you to go there, if you're truly going to go there, for you to go there and to protest the protesters, that is clearly the position that this video takes, right? Why is it not with the same reverence and boisterousness that the actual protesters? He's not there saying F ICE protesters. No, he's also doing what I said I knew would happen, is that he would mix and mingle in with these folks. Imagine, and I'm going to show you a video later on. Imagine being there as an anti-protester, but receiving food and victuals, substance. You are receiving sustenance from people who you are actually there protesting against. Actually protesting against, and we'll get to that part. But this is not just the ideology of the anti-protesters. I think it became very clear very early on that it was not going to hold this belief system long, right? It was not going, and this is the thing. I'm not here to tell you that there aren't many people out there like this gentleman, because I think there are lots of people out there like this gentleman. It's just that we don't know the backstory of it all. You're welcome, BG. Thank you for being here and purchasing membership. We don't know the whole life of all of the other people. So we get to multiply and divide what we see here by what we already know. And that makes it for an interesting glimpse in. Like, this is an interesting window pane to look through, right? So starts off by saying, hold on, guys, I've been stuck with something. When there's like this lapse in memory that he gets to the end of this after saying he's been stuck with something. He gets to the end of it and saying, oh, I ran into a sign. You knew you ran into a sign at this very moment. Why not just say, oh, shoot, I ran into a sign and I ripped my jacket? Right? Why not? Moving forward. Now, this is the optics of this is, again, it's a hard one for me to judge, right? I would say, as loosely packed as these people are, that this more so starts to identify as the kind of protest that does not require a permit. They are not obstructing the roadway. They do not appear to be violent or unruly, right? I'm guessing because they're still there and they're not involved in what would appear to be precursory crimes, that if they were lawfully asked to disperse, probably these folks would, right? And I'm telling you, the gentleman, we know this gentleman knows how to prey on people. We know he knows which ones to pick, right? Now, there's a couple of interesting things in here. One I've already spoke on, right? The one that I spoke on was the whole
waiting his word, every lie rehearsed, every truth deferred. He don't build, don't plant, don't water, don't grow. Just takes what he can and then.
Now, what we do automatically know is that it doesn't even come to a mob mentality. This gentleman just has a clear-cut deficit in self-awareness. We understand that. Graham, thanks so much for becoming a new member, baby. You know it means the world to me, Queen. Thank you so much. He's opportunistic, yes. He knows when to pray. He knows when to steal, so on and so forth, right?
And it's just slow, no care, I'll take. That's the code he lives by. Hands always open, never.
What is this here? Kaz, thank you so much for your bountiful contribution, Queen. You know it means the world to me, baby. I love you like a fat kid loves cake, baby. I love you, Kaz. Thank you. So this is a very duplicit piece of imagery, and I'll tell you why. Because for a moment, as an American that has a view, these people are here protesting something I wouldn't protest. And we're all adults here. So initially the optic is that, oh yeah, Ernie is stealing from the very people that in the prior video he's there to protest against. He's actually there undercover. We're gonna grant him that blessing this evening. He's there undercover, and he is protesting. He's stealing from the people that he's protesting against. Now, if this were an isolated event, you'd say, "Oh, awesome, dude! Like, yeah, you are the igloo cooler terrorist of Minneapolis right now, right? You are the man, homie. You're the man. You understand me?" But then when you understand what exactly you're looking at, because you guys know I look at things a different way, right? He's here. He's here. Hold on, I'm waiting for the right clip. Okay, right there. He's here. He's stealing from people that, in my opinion, are playing a stupid game. You're winning a stupid prize, right? But let's dig deeper. What else? Who else has he stolen from in this piece right here? Well, yeah, where are we at here? We are at 109. So for those who haven't seen the clip,
Confirmed he ain't becoming better, he's becoming worse. Every hook up a mirror, he refuses to face, trying to fill up the void with the stranger's embrace, but it don't stick now.
jamming stuff in his pocket, right? So let's go back here. Okay. Who else has he stole from in this image right here? Tell me. Tell me. He stole from the people that support him. How, Benny Keys? He stole from them by making them wait around and believe that the knee pads, the shin guards, the elbow pads, and the knife poke neoprene stuff or whatever, it is, that he had to have that in order to do this. Those pants, they needed pliers to put on like back in the 80s, ladies. He's not wearing any knee pads. He stole from the people he's protesting against. And he stole from the people that support him, because here he is, he's out in the thick of it, and he has no knee pads on. Yeah, that's a theft by deception. That's what it is. It's called theft by deception. Hey, Luna. So when they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, it is. Dragon. Right? That's the way that I look at the world, right? I'm not looking at it, like he's stuffing extra granola bars in his pocket while, he's doing that quick while with the left hand is stuffing while the right hand is searching through things that I know the lady told him before. This is the thing. The lady said, you can have whatever you want. I heard her. Then why is it apparent you're stealing if you can have whatever you want? It's because this is your return to the station. Yeah, Kaz. He's pretending he's one of the protesters while he's actually there. What he sold to us. Look at the title here. Ice out ICE protesters. Now, we know that that's propaganda. We know he's there aimlessly pointing around, trying to remove the stigma of the things that he's put on himself with the deceit of the past. He took like 5 pair of gloves and a blanket. I believe it 1,000%. This isn't a personal attack on Ernie. This is a personal attack on the optic and the belief system, which someone may find even more irrehensible. I don't know. Right? So he is an anti-protester, which means he aligns with the ideology of Trump, which we know he's a Trumper. We've all seen all of the American flag Patriot sleeveless shirts that he wears, right? I mean, to each his own. I've never worn a sleeveless shirt in my life, unless I was playing basketball and they call those jerseys. He's there as an anti-protester here. But over here, he's receiving resources from the people he's actually supposed to be there protesting against. He don't have a hair on his ass. He does not have a hair on his ass. He also took hand warmers, food, supplies that anti-government NGOs purchased. 1,000%. So right now what he's doing is he is actually committing, if we break it down, right, in government terms, he's facilitating and patronizing with the enemy, right? He's patronizing with the enemy. He's taking resources from one side to make it look like he's fueling another argument or another set of beliefs, and that this is actually what it is what you're seeing. He's opportunistic. It doesn't matter, right? Whereas someone with true beliefs and true convictions, first of all, wouldn't even be over there with the people they're actually there against, let alone these people have the mentality that they don't care, that they would do anything to be seen and to be heard, right? This is conformity at its finest. Conforming and getting in where you fit in and da 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 da. And I understand that and I come well prepared with a full disclosure, right? One of the things that this gentleman will say later on is, "You're just jealous I'm getting views." Ernie, I've had so many channels where I have millions of views, 20, 30, 40,000 views on every video, right? You're just the last one in the collective of you and me that is getting views, right? So let's not act like you've returned to some great YouTube grandness. I've looked at the videos and I see nothing really different than what I've seen before. I've heard you talk and brag about a video of a young woman who was a stunt double who fell off a table onto a chair, and you purchased 10 million views, right? That's what I was texting you about, Nikki. This is all fuel to boost. This isn't even an ego, because in my opinion, I believe a lot of times an ego is a negatively fueled personality trait or dynamic. And this isn't ego. You don't steal and get caught doing stuff like this for ego. This is to replace. There she is right there. Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I texted you earlier and I was like, yeah, no, she's probably going to want to get in on this.
Well, yeah, and Franklin just got home after being gone for weeks, and
Hi.
So, let's focus. Let me say one thing.
Sure.
Ernie, while he was out in the quote unquote field, wearing a U.S. Army hat so that the people around him would assume he was a veteran. Let's not forget that. It's all about his costume, right?
Yeah.
And it's all stolen valor. Let's also not forget that he was taking these supplies that were funded by an NGO or a very rich man, that what we've been seeing is coming from the taxpayers' coffers, because we have been being ripped off by these NGOs for 2 decades, created by Democrats. I'm sure there's also Republicans that have also created NGOs, but we have been seeing it time and time again. Hundreds of millions of fucking dollars from us, while we aren't out living the high life, right?
Right.
Then you got Ernie, who doesn't have to keep a job. He is funded by a bunch of disabled and retarded people that get him to wherever he wants to go. He's a couch surfer. But then to watch him today pretend that he was LEO and say to the peepers, President Trump has just invoked the Insurrection Act, which is going to rile these people up, and it was not true.
Okay, say that again. Whoa, hold on. Repeat that whole paragraph for me.
The whole thing? You want me to do the whole thing?
Please. Well, just the whole start from law enforcement and go.
So he was trying to pretend as if he was working with law enforcement. He's like, I'm working with you. I'm with them. I got you, brother. This is what you need to do. And then you've got the boom booms in the background. And I was like, this is the closest thing to war Ernie's ever going to be able to claim. But he said to the people standing around him that President Trump has just invoked the Insurrection Act, which was a fucking lie. That's going to get people worked up, especially in this area.
Can you just give me a brief rundown of your understanding of what the Insurrection Act is? Because I have zero clue what that even means. I know what it sounds like, but I'm sure that, I'm very uneducated on what that is.
Okay, so the Insurrection Act it allows the executive branch, the president, to federalize the state militias, aka the National Guards, or the use of regular armed forces, so our regular military.
Against the people.
Yep. To quell any rebellion against a state government. So that's what we're seeing, right?
Wow.
We have myself, I think the Insurrection Act should be invoked, but I understand why it's not being invoked, because that would be highly antagonistic from the federal government, irrespective of the fact that you've got Governor Fry, you've got, Mayor Fry, Governor Walz, the chief of police pretty much saying we're being invaded and attacked by the federal government, which is not the case. They are doing the job that the people voted for, which is to extract illegal aliens. Don't tell me, oh, but the babies, the children, when we had 500,000 children go missing during the Biden administration that crossed the borders. They were more than likely trafficked. Don't cry to me, Argentina, about this bullshit that Trump's bad, when we all fully supported Bush, Clinton, and Obama deporting illegals. What we have right now is a Trump derangement syndrome country media that's going to say Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. And then you got an idiot like Ernie saying President Trump just invoked the Insurrection Act, which is going to gaslight the people around him. And they're going to spread that around when that is not the case. This has not been invoked. Ernie is a fucking retard. He doesn't even know what the Insurrection Act is. But he tells a group of people, and those people went and told a group of people, and then that group it was playing telephone. This was after Mayor Fry and his team said, we need to stop. Please go home. This is no longer an okay protest. Disband immediately. And then you got Ernie out there lying to the people.
So let me ask you, I'm going to ask you to sort of maybe step into his motives could be, because I get it if you are, no holds barred anti-protester and you're there screaming, F ICE protesters and all of this stuff. But he actually is there in support.
He's agitating. He's agitating the protesters. He's gaslighting them, Benny. He's not there. He's not there because he's anti-ICE. I'm not anti-ICE. This is exactly what I voted for. Now, I didn't vote for sanctuary cities and blue states to work against the administration. As you see, Memphis, Tennessee, DC, Texas, there's all these other red states that even have sanctuary cities that are working with the Trump administration to these people are protecting pedophiles. The majority of these actions with ICE, they're going after the men that are raping and maiming our women and children, that are gangbangers, that are drug dealers. Why would they not work with the Trump administration to get them out? Why are we protecting these type of people? I don't want open borders. I do not. If you don't pay attention to what is going on in the European Union, You guys have your head in the sand. These people, they have rape gangs. They've lost their freedom of speech. Their citizens, their natural born citizens are being put in jail, prison. Meanwhile, you have these low IQ. And when I say this, now let's not talk about Epstein. You guys do that every chance you get. Well, what about Epstein? Well, what about the fraud in Minnesota?
Let me ask you a question, Nick. What are some of the group numbers? Like, what is the largest numbers we've heard so far?
In regards to what?
The protests in Minneapolis.
I don't think any numbers have actually been put out, but allegedly yesterday there was an actual protest, and it's alleged that there was 50,000 people. Now, I can't verify that. I've seen photos on X. If you are not on X.com, please get there and start following people to get the real news. I don't know, but that's a lot of people for negative temperatures. I don't know if it's true because I can't believe mainstream media, Benny. I can't.
No, I agree. And I think that there's so many things because I'd be interested to know, like when someone says Minnesotans stand with whomever, right? How many people, I mean, you've got people like this dude peppered in who is not from Minnesota. Right. And I don't, what I don't want to take away from Ernie is the fact that he actually went. Now, what was the motive behind it? Right?
Like the motive is money.
I agree. I would have to say that. The motive
is money, clicks and views. It's not because he actually gives a shit. And he kept saying, this is not my first rodeo. Well, he was not in Kenosha during the riots. He was there during a trial. He was not in Minneapolis during the George Floyd riots. He never stepped foot in there, but today he claimed he did. He has gone on and on today going, this isn't my first rodeo, folks. This isn't my first rodeo. Like, it was like LARPing from an NPC. Like, this is a non-player character that wants to be a main character.
Right.
It's humiliating. But he's adding to the chaos. He's adding to the chaos, and it is not. That is not. I can't respect that. I can't.
I'm having a really hard time, and then also some of the things that have accompanied this trip. I had a little fun, about the whole Charger thing, but then once more information was revealed, it was like, so people found out where the car was. They started reaching out to the guy saying, hey, there's a guy on YouTube who claims this is his car, da, 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 da. And then Ernie, I don't know if Ernie had any prior contact with this gentleman or not, but then he reaches out to him and says, hey, I was going to cash you out on the car, but you effed that all up. Like, it just, I'm guessing, if I had to guess based on histrionics, that he probably had not had a conversation with this man about this car yet.
I agree.
Right. So now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the very person people are emailing the seller about pops up, and it's, with negativity. So it's this whole cycle that continues. And before I fired this up, I had to ask myself, like, Minnie, you're sort of walking into the lion's den with Ernie again. And, what
Not
is
really. I don't believe that.
And
I think you're very constrained, to be honest.
I'm trying to be, because I
think you are.
I'm trying to look at the issues that are before me and really nothing else, right? But it's always, anytime you use logic against lunacy, what you end up with is, a threat to call probation or a threat to do this. A threat, I guess, is it doesn't matter.
But that's exactly, and here's the thing. That's exactly how the left-wing nut jobs operate. Cancel culture. Ernie's ego does not allow for any pushback, any correction of his shit behavior. And instead of saying, you know what, you're probably right, I'm making bad decisions or I've done this incorrectly, he's gonna threaten your freedom.
Yeah. Which is completely anti-American.
It is completely anti what he's allegedly standing for. Oh my God, your hands are cold. And
But your kitty's still good.
so he just got home.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
Right now, right here.
All right. Shh. We're on a live stream, baby.
No. I think that, looking at this thing from a broader spectrum, with a broader stroke, I think that today, potentially more than any day, I can identify how fractured the viewership is in the support network on YouTube, because I have not watched anything today. Just understanding through context clues, all the gals, what is actually transpiring. It's scary, right? It's like the old they always say, for the street level drug dealer, once you put in all the hours they stand on the corner and how much they make, it's like $5 an hour. So once you take into account how much money he'll say he made, even when you stretch that over the year, it's nothing, right?
It's nothing.
Yeah, it makes more sense to work a 9 to 5 and do this passively on the side instead of this being the feast or famine, right? Like if you aren't headed towards a shit show, pardon my French.
Well, look at him. He's literally pillaging their supplies, Benny.
He just got paid from YouTube.
Yeah, $5,000 a month.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like there's some people. I would go so far as to say that there's some people in this crowd. Look how some of these people are dressed.
What about the homeless people? They don't supply the homeless veterans and the homeless Americans with these kind of supplies.
Right. Yeah.
Right? No, seriously, let's think about that for a second.
They're left to fend for themselves.
Yes, we have hundreds of thousands of homeless Americans and veterans that do not get supplies like this shipped into their cities. The hand warmers, the overalls, the face masks, they don't get that. Why? Because the Democratic Party, their big engine here, they're not going to elevate those that are homeless and get them out of homelessness because they harvest their ballots. They're the low propensity voters, so they'll register them to vote and then they'll vote on behalf of them. I know a lot of people don't like to discuss that, but it is actually true. Today, there was a young man from Wisconsin who works for the United States Postal Service who said, I don't like Trump, I don't like Biden, but this is what was going on in nursing homes. Patients that have dementia, they're voting? Really?
Yeah, right. Yeah, they can put it all together and figure it out.
So the Democrat Party, they have to survive by weaponizing the people against the government. They have to keep the homeless and the homeless veterans homeless. They have to do this in order to be able to harvest ballots and to get money from the government as an NGO. Look at the gentleman out of California that had an NGO for homelessness, and he was just indicted because he stole millions of dollars for himself.
Yep.
We're going to see a lot of that, but and I know I hate the term the dark state or the deep state. It does exist, and they have been doing everything that they can since 2015 to take Trump out because Trump owes nobody anything.
Right.
But it all ties in. It's not just these protests. It's not the No Kings, the Black Lives Matters. Look what happened with BLM. Look at those women and how much money they stole to profit. There was self-enrichment there, Benny.
Oh, yeah.
All of this ties in together, and it is so big and it is so bad. And guess who pays for it? I do.
Right.
You do. Anybody in here that pays federal and state taxes, we are funding this without our permission.
Yep. I agree with that 100%.
I could go on and on and on and on about this. I'm going to drop down. Thank you for having me up. Ernie, I hope you get what you give. And gaslighting those people in Minnesota and lying to them that the president invoked the Insurrection Act to get people worked up. I hope it blows up in your face, and I hope you pay the absolute consequence for your actions. Enough is enough, Ernie. Thank you, Benny. Everyone, have a great night.
Yep, you too. Well, very interesting. Well, there's always a grander design, and here I am spouting off my beliefs when there was actually this claim of the Insurrection Act. I think that I don't know that it takes it to any new low. I think that what it does is it's just it's a combination of all the spices, right? I don't know. Let's go ahead and move on to this here. So, I did hear a clip that some of the ladies were talking about, and it was something involving either this particular situation or one like it somewhere else in the city. It was our said gentleman publicly exhibiting the effects of tear gas. And to me, it's more of, if you know the hypocrisy, it's more of the hypocrisy of wanting sympathy and empathy while you are standing in front of this and you get a touch of the gas, right? How can you feel sorry for someone? I think it's very tragic. And I've painted a scenario like this before. I think that it's tragic when avid skydivers fall to their death. However, at the same time, when you use the logic God gave you, how can you feel sorry for someone who jumps out of a perfectly good plane and hits the ground and perishes? How can I've seen a lot of other fellow skydivers who will also hold the same ideology as me. Their response to the scenario would be, well, he died doing what he loved the most, right? So how can you feel sorry for him, right? How can you feel sorry for someone who stands in front of this, gets a taste of the gas, and that triggers something inside of you, not you, but them, triggers something inside of them that money is the cure. That money is the cure to this sort of foolery, right? How can you feel sorry for that? Right? Or a drunk driver who only perishes themselves in a one-car accident. It's tragic, right? Because there's a lot of things that lead up to that: substance abuse, traumas, unresolved issues. But how can you actually feel sorry for someone who gets what they have coming, right? So let me see what else I have pulled up here. That is the precursory stuff. That is the Insurrection Act stuff. So I'll go ahead and read it again. The Insurrection Act of 1807, or just the Insurrection Act in the U.S. Federal law empowers the President of the United States to nationally deploy the U.S. armed forces and to federalize the National Guard units of the individual states in specific circumstances, such as the suppression of civil disorder. So, as you can see right here, I don't know if that's true or not. NPR always seems to kind of run, you know, to the best of my understanding, kind of run on the fence. So NPR, let's say it this way, NPR would tell you that he threatened the Insurrection Act a week ago. So I don't know. Thank you, Lila. Thank you so much. I just feel like this is a pressure cooker, and it's full of faulty ideology. It's full of broken people. It's filled with fractured intellect, limited intellect, a lot of these people. And so, you know, I don't know how my boss would feel if I said, hey, I'm going to take the next week out. Not going to be here, and I'm going to be over here protesting against what I voted for. In some situations, these people are actually protesting against what they voted for now that it's being enacted on a large scale, or a scale that crosses their threshold of comfortability. And see how, I mean, just if you say I'm going to protest, you automatically are putting, so to speak, the scarlet letter on yourself, right? Now, I don't know. I also don't know how said employer would feel if you said, hey, I'm going to protest the protesters. You know, you get into all these subsections and crossing overs of belief systems and political ideology. And I think that this is not that complex an issue. What I've showed you tonight, it's not that complex. It's not. Let me tell you this. My dad, he uses a particular logic, and he says, imagine going to the doctor and you say, hey, doc, it hurts when I do like this. Well, what do you expect the doctor to say? Don't do that no more. It hurts. The tear gas stings. The freezing cold is freezing cold. I'm oh so hungry. My phone won't work. It's doing this. Don't do that no more. Right? So that's pretty much all I have. We are at the 1:30 mark. Thank you, Nick, for coming up. I want to thank Kaz for her contribution. I want to thank Paisley, Casey, of course, for her contribution, Nikki for her contribution, Behind Green Eyes, her contribution, and Graham. Can someone please drop Nick and BGE's link in the chat, please, before we wrap up here? If you want your own channel in the chat, go ahead. Anyways, I don't think this is over by a long shot, right? I am sort of apprehensively interested in seeing what the outcome would be if the Insurrection Act was, if it was deployed, because I start to feel like the problem in Minneapolis, it ain't gonna be a problem no more. Right? It ain't gonna be a problem no more. We want a problem. This will do as the problem until the real problem gets here. But let me tell you what, as an American, a free thinker, guess what? Enact the Insurrection Act all you want. It don't affect me. I'm not there. I don't feel as if you are crossing into an uncomfortable threshold of my sensibilities by enacting that or deploying that. right? I don't feel that, right? Now, you start talking about, I don't know, taking away guns or my right to order takeout delivery or something that it really applies to me, right? Something that really applies to me, well, then, yeah, you might get to hear a crass word or so, right? But this also, and let me preface the ending part of this, is that I don't have the vast knowledge of politics, policy, and this sort of law. I mean, this is what I would call archaic law. I mean, you're just fresh out of the 1700s, right? Fresh out of the set. You are 7 years out of the 1700s, and that this is still a law on the books. So don't be surprised if you are involved in a mob mentality, in a spree, committing a spree of precursory crimes, and then you get flexed by the federal government. I'm not going to be mad at them, because guess what? In my opinion, this is my opinion. I have the right to express my opinion on my platform, and I hate that word platform. Flex it on them. I don't care, because it doesn't mean anything to me. But these Americans, a lot of them who are actually upset, this is the supreme version of buyer's remorse ever. This is something, there is no receipt for it. You can't take it back. You purchased it already, and you signed in blood for it. So eat that food, little man. You hear me? And I don't know, right? Like this here, well, I'm telling you that federal police are not setting fires. I assure you. Anyways, I love all of y'all individually. You know, I'm not here for the effery. I'm here for a good time. But right now, it's hard to tell the difference. I love all of y'all individually. Remember, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Have a great one.
This is another Real Track production. Real Track, real.
I can see straight through the fuckery. Nigga know what's up with me. Yeah. Niggas know not to fuck with me. Real shit, only no fuckery. Thought that bitch wanna fuck on me, so she can go and tell that's the fuckery. If it ain't out there, that's the fuckery. I'm pulling back up with the fuckery. Yeah, bitch ain't no fucking me. You owe me, you ducking me, that is that fuckery. Yeah, stick on me ugly. Bitch ain't no touching me 30 for fuckery. Nah, that is that fuckery. That is that fuckery, fuckery. Yeah, that is that fuckery. That is that fuckery. Yeah, I can't let you pay me for a pussy. You owe me, then pay me, or I am a pussy. Yeah, you probably feel out, huh? But I can't let you feel like you took it. Nope, not the way you had a nigga looking. Need my money on my work when I call you play hooking. Yeah, you ain't keep it G. You ain't keep it G, nigga. All you did is try to hit me with the fuckery, nigga. Yeah. Never about to hit and feed niggas. No. I was just trying to feed niggas. Yeah. Cause I was just trying to eat, nigga. But I can't let you think I'm sweet, nigga. Okay. Yeah. I ain't type to look for beef, nigga. Nope. But I ain't looking just to please, nigga. Yeah. Got the pipe on my hip, got some pressure built up. I'm a motherfucker squeezing. Yeah. Man, fuck making peace with you. I'll try and make some cheese with you. Yeah, man, I feel like we equal. Pull up, old raggedy vehicle. I'm shooting at whoever be with you. I wouldn't want to be with you. I'ma kill a nigga, smoke weed with you. Same nigga like to be a C with you. 30 round clip for your pussy ass. Then you get the picture. Thought this bitch wanna fuck on me. Shit ain't gon' happen though. Back in the trap and I'm stacking though. No time to chill with no ratchet hoe. Unless you on traffic though. No fuckery. Talk back, I smack her though. Tell that hoe pack the coat. Bitch, get your back and go get out the fucking door.